Hello?
What?
What's your name? So what do you want to talk about, Alec?
Okay.
Oh, wait, where you from, Alec? Are you a woman or a man?
I'm a girl, but
You're
I'm a trans woman.
Oh, you're a trans
So,
woman. Okay, go ahead. Okay, it's good. All right, you're trans woman. Talk to me. What's on your mind? What do you want to talk about? Oh, where you from? I forgot. Okay, so you're
yeah.
trans. You're a girl. Okay,
Yeah,
girl.
I'm from Utah.
You from Utah? And what would you like to
Yes.
talk about?
And so I'm curious, are you for or against Donald Trump?
I'm for Trump. I'm for Trump. I have here. I don't know if you're watching now. I have Trump is winning. I have a phone
Yeah,
number there.
I
Two
saw
one
that
three.
and I assumed you were for Trump, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. I'm for Trump. I'm actually for Trump. I like what he's pushing. I like what he's doing. I've been liking him
Uh-huh.
since 2015. I think he's winning on the border and a lot of other issues there. What do you want to talk about?
So, two of my primary political points of interest when it comes to Donald Trump as a political figure and really the modern Republican Party are trans issues as a trans person, but I'm also extremely interested in election reform and the current Republican Party's approach to that. I personally believe that the SAVE Act is extremely problematic,
Why?
and there is not any evidence of widespread voter fraud. However, that there is
It is.
evidence that Americans do not possess the necessary ID to engage with the SAVE Act in the way that the Trump administration wants them to.
Okay. So we want to touch on the
Yeah.
you addressed yourself twice as being a trans. So is trans more
Yeah.
important to you as being human? Should I judge you on the
I
content of your character instead of like trans? Like you trying to hit home to my everyone that's listening to you that you're trans. Let's judge you on the content of your character right now. Okay,
right.
so you don't have
I
to say
agree.
trans.
I
You
don't
said
believe
to
that my
address your hold on a second,
transgender
hold on a second,
identity.
hold on a second, hold on a second. I'm not trying to hit you over the head with it. You address
Yes, of
yourself as
course.
a woman. You address yourself as a girl or woman. I'm going to address you as a woman, but you don't have to go back and forth with that because these are supercharging words right now in our society. A lot of people are feeling one way about it, even knowing it's been around since a long time ago. It was around back then. It says it's 1% of 1% of 1%, but yet it's being out there in the mainstream media. The Democratic Party has hanged their hat on transgenders being part of there. It seemed like the LGBTQ was the last one, is that T there, and now they're saying, okay, come on, join the ride with us, and we're happy about it, right? The LGBT is happy about it. I'm happy that you're happy, but let's be understanding, let's be real here. For people to be satisfied with what's going on right now with you, Alec, you got to stop saying trans. I recommend that. I don't walk around saying I'm black. Someone doesn't walk around
Right.
and say I'm heterosexual.
But
Hold on a second.
I
Hold on a second. Just walk around as Alec, a woman, okay? And just judge you on your character.
yeah.
You mentioned the Save America Act,
I
and you believe that it's not a good thing. You think that is hurting people from getting to vote. Can I ask you a question? It's all about the
yes.
ID. It's all about voter ID. If even the
Right.
majority of the people, I think it's like 87% or 85% of Americans in the United States are saying, yes, we need some form of ID. What part of that ID that you don't like? Because you need it for alcohol, you need it for all kinds of things, to go to college, you need a lot of things for that, to get on a plane, all these other things to
Yeah.
get on there. I'm going to let you talk. Go ahead. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
So multiple things. First of all, you identified me as trans, so I
No, you
did
said it.
not. I said trans issues are important to me because I am a trans person, and so those issues are important to me because they directly affect my life. However, to get to the topic at hand, I do agree that ID should be incorporated into voting. However, under the pretenses of the SAVE Act, a driver's license is not a form of ID that can be used. I believe, you can correct me on this, but I believe that the Save America Act specifically requests that only a birth certificate or a passport are the valid forms of ID that can be used in voter, which is very difficult for multiple reasons. First of all, about 50% of Americans do not currently possess a passport, at least according to my knowledge. Once again, you could correct me on that if that's incorrect. And second of all, many Americans change their surname, such as women when they get married. And the law does not provide a direct way for women who have not gotten the chance to update their birth certificates to continue voting. And then additionally, this law will disproportionately affect those who do not follow the standard first, middle, last format, such as people from Asian cultures where their surname will come before their first name, or people from cultures in Central and South America where they will have multiple last names.
It says here that the Save America Act here is championed by President Trump. It says proven citizenship here. The act requires in-person or mail-in proof of citizenship. It says a passport, a birth certificate, or a specialized ID to register. So you need to register about it. It says eliminating the honor system. That's the whole thing about the voter ID, the Save America Act, is to eliminate. And I'm pretty sure every citizen here has a birth certificate. Every citizen. Right. Hold on a second. Did I cut you off? Did I cut you off? Did I cut you off? I did not. I did not. So hold up. Okay, so every citizen in United States of America, Alec, has a birth certificate. That is a proven fact. Now, you said something about people getting married. What were they doing prior to this? What were they doing prior to this situation, Alec? I want to be honest with you. Now you can answer when I ask you when I finish this one here. What in the heck were they doing, Alec, when they were getting married and they had all these different surnames, Alec, and they had to go to the voting booth to show their ID? Was that difficult then? Or is it now it's difficult because Trump is trying to do the Save America Act and 87% of American citizens want it today. They wanted it yesterday, Alec. They want it a year ago, Alec. They want it tomorrow. They want it for November 4th when the midterm elections come around, Alec. Can you understand how bad we have people who are going in there and voting and we think it's fraud and abuse going on? How do you feel about that? A legal immigrant is going there and voting. A person who shouldn't be voting is going there and voting, taking away your vote. One vote is being taken away by one illegal immigrant, or if it's 10,000, 50,000, or so forth. How does that make you feel that your vote is being watered down? Go ahead.
Okay. So my that I have with your response to me not acknowledged my problem with this bill. Let me restate away. My problem in this bill is not that it requires ID, it's that the form of ID that is required is difficult to access for many Americans. 50% of Americans do not have a passport, and many American women have not changed their birth certificates after getting married. So neither of those. Let's put you in the shoes of an American woman have not changed her birth certificate, not possess a passport. That means that it would be difficult for her to be able to register to vote. I'm not disagreeing with you that we should have valid form of ID while voting. What I am disagreeing with is the idea that the driver's license, I believe, you can fact check me on this, but I would guess the driver's license is the most commonly possessed form of identification in the United States, is not being used as a form of ID when it comes to voting. And I really think this bill should expand voting to also be driver licenses, because those are valid form of U.S. ID.
Okay.
And then my second thing that I would like to bring up real quick.
Wait, let's finish that. Can we finish that one? Because I'm so old. You said driver license, that last one. Hold on a second here. Okay, driving license. Okay, first thing you mentioned about marriage license. I don't know. Don't they give you like a paperwork there that you can fill out for your job? When you want a job and you go in as a teacher per se and you change your name, don't you have some legal document proving that happened, that it's a change there, that you need to do that for your workplace, somewhere you work, or even if you're getting state or federal assistance somewhere that you need to show that paperwork of change of name? How about when you go to the DMV as well, that you need to show some type of paperwork? They just don't take your word for it. So a marriage license, hold on a second, license, and also change name. When you change your name, they also give you some type of paperwork. You just can't all of a sudden, I can't go there and just change my name off the whim. You have to actually fill out some type of paperwork they give you. And the last thing you mentioned, you want driver license. We have illegal immigrants who cannot even read, right or understand what's going on driving CDL. They have a CDL driving license from California, from Minnesota, all these sanctuary cities who are crashing to American citizens and caning people over and over again. Let's make it what it is. Let's make it with a birth certificate where every American citizen has. And when we have that, Alec, just think about that. Wouldn't you feel good knowing that our voting system is holding up to what it should be for all Americans, not some Americans, and not counseling them out? Because fraud and abuse is happening in the voting booth, and it happens every single election. And also, I want to point out one more thing here. It's something else going on with the Save America Act. They want to have something called mail-in ballots there. They want it to happen one day, it should end the day of the election. So at the day of the election, it shouldn't be going on, these mail-in ballots coming in 3, 4, 5, even 6 days after the election. I mean, by normal, in any state, within 2 days, it should be already in anyway. But they're coming in 5 and 6 days afterwards.
This is the second thing that I wanted to bring up, and I'm glad that you continue talking about this. You talk about how every single election we see widespread fraud. But actually, the states of Utah and Michigan both did studies into how much fraud occurred during, I can't remember whether it was the 2020, 2016, or 2024 elections, one of the most recent elections. Michigan found 15 fraudulent voters. Utah found 1 fraudulent voter. And so for you to say the number of people who are watering down the American election system is greater than the amount of people who will likely lose their ability to vote because of the Save America Act, because it will make it difficult for them to be able to vote, because it will force them to access very specific forms of identification. Essentially, what I'm saying is, I can't remember. I think it was a congressperson who was debating the Save America Act. They were a Democrat. And they said that the numbers of Americans who could potentially not be able to easily vote because of the Save America Act due to the restrictions it places on proper identification could be numbered in the millions. And according to what I just said about Michigan only finding 15 and Utah only finding 1, I suspect that the number of people, of good, hardworking, real citizen Americans who will lose their votes because of this bill outnumbers the number of fraudulent voters who have been identified, who are threats to the American democracy without this bill. And then one last thing that I would like to say is, you kept bringing up how 87% of Americans support this. 87% of Americans support this. Well, what I think we need to acknowledge is that if we're running off popularity, a lot of laws that are in place right now would not be in place. The majority of Americans support a woman's right to be able to get an abortion. The majority of Americans want companies to have more restrictions so that they cannot continue abusing people. The majority of Americans want inside trading to be banned for members of Congress and people on Capitol Hill. And so if we want to talk about popularity as a contributing factor, we can talk about popularity, because it's more than just Republican bills. There are so many bills that Republicans or that Americans care about that these politicians are not listening to.
Yeah, Alec, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly about that. It's definitely about insider trading, abortion. I don't know if you're for or against abortion. You just threw it out there in the air. But I'm definitely against abortion in that sense, that every life is important there. I mean, it wavered back and forth in my life as an early person. Now, when I got older and started realizing how fragile life is. But you mentioned stuff like that makes me think about popular and what's not popular. I think what you're doing right now in life right now, talking to me on this right now, people saying your age, whatever, I don't know what you are. It's not popular to be on your side or my side, but we have choices. We have the right choice and the wrong choice. And right now, you pointed out 2 states, Michigan with 15 and Utah with 1. Listen, I mentioned that one time before. I mentioned 1 vote one illegal vote is detrimental to a person who's legal. One vote doesn't matter, 115. But I'm going to throw something out there. California has a major problem with voter ID. They don't even show it. Arizona is another one. And then guess what? Texas, people are sneaking in and out back and forth when the Biden administration was in office. And, you know, time and time again, I got to point this out because California is one of those states that has this loosely done about you don't have to show your ID as you walk in to vote. There are videos are showing this, and people are highly upset about that. And California is one of those states that we have politicians losing by less than 1,000 votes, and they become Democrats. It's important that we have the right people in their office, because if we have the right people in the office, Alec, I guarantee you maybe we might pass the insider trading. We might pass it where they have it where they won't be able to get what was it called? They wanted to have the House and the Senate not be able to get paid when they close the government down. But all these government shutdowns have been done by the Democratic Party, and they still wanted to get paid. It's a man named John. It's a politician and senator named John Kennedy, and he put that up to the bill to try to put it up to office. Put it up on the floor. And a Democrat has shot it down and didn't want to show his face at all. They still wanted to get paid, and it was a Democrat, Alec. How do you feel about that? They shut down the damn government where they have people not getting paid for, I think it was like over 40 days. How would you feel like not getting paid for 40 days and you have kids, you have a family, you have a husband, you have a mother and a father, people depending on you, Alec, and then now you worrying about people having their ID and you taking an ID, a driving license should be more important than a passport or a birth certificate that every American citizen needs. When they deliver them in the hospital, they give them a birth certificate. And if they want to go to school, they have to show proof of it, Alec. That day one, I bet you had to show proof, some proof who you are. Not anymore in these sanctuary states. No. They just say, sign them up. We don't need to show your birth certificate, know who you are. This is nonsense, Alec. America is more important than that. One vote for one person, and we cannot ignore that. And it's so important that you understand that. This slippery slope of letting everything fly that's wrong. Like, do you understand the judgment of something right and something wrong? Like something's wrong to the core. You mentioned abortion being wrong. You mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned it's wrong, but you did mention insider trading as being wrong. So you do recognize that. One vote is so important. So let's make sure that we make that and value that. No?
Yeah. So as I said, okay, you are not acknowledging something that I said. I stated when I spoke that according to, I don't have the specific source on hand. I may be able to retrieve it, but that would require a lot of work. That people estimated the Save America Act would remove easy access to voting from millions of Americans. And as I said, Utah only found one case of fraud. Michigan only found 15 cases of fraud.
The 48 other states.
We have, in one hand, we have less than 100 people who are fraudulently using the election system.
What about California?
On the hand,
Alex.
I would like, please.
Okay.
I was not finished speaking.
Okay.
So the first thing that I would like to say, as I said, is that some people have estimated there would actually be a greater amount of votes lost because of the Save America Act than those fraudulent votes who are eliminated as a cause of the Save America Act. And so while I do appreciate you saying we need to have one person, one vote, I do need you to also acknowledge that this will take away votes. It won't just magically fix the system. Creating a rigid ID system will make it more difficult for average Americans to vote. And I have two things that I would like to ask you and that I would like you to concisely respond to so that I can understand your opinions and your viewpoints when it comes to this. The first question is I would ask you to please provide substantial evidence that the states of California and Minnesota, those were two examples that you gave, are experiencing such high levels of fraudulent voting that it is changing election results. If you could please provide me with a reputable source that states that is occurring, that we are seeing such widespread voter fraud that it is changing California and Minnesota elections.
Yeah.
And then my second question for you is, you are so focused on the integrity of the American vote. And so I'm extremely curious about your opinion on gerrymandering in the United States.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Those are very two good points. Listen, we've been on for 23 minutes. I'm missing like 5 different callers. I really appreciate you, Alec. Call back again. I will research this again, focusing on gerrymandering. Do I like it or do I not like it? It's a short answer. I didn't like it. I do not like it at all. No. But the game is being played. No, I do not like it. No. Another thing here, you asked me about California and Minnesota. I would like to look that up and research it more. But I can tell you now, as I read these articles, when I look up every morning, I see more voter fraud happen throughout the state. It is not just those 2 states with 15-1. California, I think, led the pack. But thank you for calling, Alec. Call back anytime again. Do you have a YouTube channel or anything?
No, I do not. But I hope you have a wonderful day.
God bless you. Thank you. Here we go. All right, great. All right, here we go. Got a good one. Let's see here. I got Chad. Chad, do I know you, Chad?